Welcome to the Tarryn Reeve Show, the podcast for elite entrepreneurs, visionary leaders, and high-impact CEOs who are ready to grow their brand, amplify their message, and build a legacy. I'm your host, Tarryn Reeves, multiple international best-selling author, publishing strategist, and founder of Automatic Authority Publishing and Press House. Each week, we dive into powerful conversations with trailblazing entrepreneurs and changemakers who are using storytelling to scale their business and impact. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and get ready for a dose of inspiration, strategy, and the truth behind what it really takes to turn your wisdom into wealth. Alrighty, today I'm joined by Sylvia Greif, who is an award-winning storyteller, independent filmmaker, and creative force behind Medi LLC and the podcast Stories, Controversy, and Bandaids. She's a Swiss-born author, producer, and chart-topping singer-songwriter who is known for pushing boundaries and sparking fresh conversations at the intersection of creativity, technology, and social impact. Sylvia is the author of the children's book Lester's Planet and the action-adventure young adult trilogy that begins with Ella Green and the Kingdom of Abud. Her storytelling spans formats and generations, bringing imagination, empathy, and environmental awareness to the forefront. Fluent in 5 languages and deeply passionate about animal advocacy, Sylvia works with nonprofits to fight animal cruelty and promote wildlife conservation. Whether she's discussing children's literature, the challenges of independent filmmaking, or how AI is disrupting film, music, and books, Sylvia brings bold insights and fearless spirit to every conversation. Let's welcome Sylvia to the Tarryn Reeve Show.
How are you?
I am amazing. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
That is good. Now, Sylvia, you've been called an award-winning storyteller. What drew you to storytelling in the first place?
So I started as a creative, as a singer into the business. And just before COVID, I felt the need to write a book. The first book was about my Chihuahua, because I'm an animal lover, called Lester. It's a real story.
Okay.
And a true story. And that was really for children, ranged to 3 to 6, 7. Then before COVID, I wrote my second book of Ella Green and the Kingdom of Abud. The story is not autobiography. It is more about a message. I think it's very important for me personally. If I write something or if I sing, when I write my lyrics, that I convey a message. Yes.
And you said that you felt the need to write a book. Now, as a publisher and a storyteller myself, I believe that every single person in them has a story to tell, whether that be fiction or nonfiction or both. What do you believe kind of felt that need to rise up and you took action to do it? Because a lot of people feel the need, but they don't do anything about it. They just go, oh, I can't write that, or I can't tell that story.
I think that if you want, you can. And I'll tell you why. I suffer from very severe dyslexia. And it was really for me climbing the Everest to write that book. I felt bad. I said, oh my God, when I'm going to send the first draft to any editor, there are going to be so mistakes. Because I see words, when I write some things, I see words upside down, numbers, IBAN numbers. It's impossible for me. So it was really a decision I took. I said, should I try or not? And I wrote the book. The editing was a nightmare. Really, really. I had someone to help me, obviously, before I sent anything. And there are many times where I thought of giving up because sometimes my head was in another dimension. My thoughts, it was difficult to write. Little things, but adding up. Little things that add up make it a huge mountain. So I wrote it during COVID. I had time. And so I think it's important to try. There's never success. And I don't think you should write to become famous or you should sing to become famous. You should do these things because your soul tells you to do them and you need it. Whatever happens after is great. You know?
Yes. Yeah, I love that. I love that you didn't let your challenges like dyslexia stand in your way of doing something you wanted. You know, I have so many writers who come to me or say, oh, I want to write a book, but English is my third language. Or I have
But English is not my
dyslexia.
first language.
No, that's right. You're Swiss born living in
Yes.
Monaco, and you still managed to write not one, but two books. So you're quite a formidable force, Sylvia, and I absolutely love that. Let's talk storytelling because it's something you and I both love very, very much. But I have kids, and
Yes.
you've written a children's book and a young
Yes.
adults book.
Yes.
What role do you think that stories play, especially stories with messages, play in shaping how young people see the world?
Oh my God. Okay. Where do I start? It's essential in the
Yes.
crazy world we're living in. I think kids are the future. The way they're raised, the way they see things can shape our world to a better world because it needs it today. And yeah, I think it's very important to convey a message. In Lester's Planet, that was my little Chihuahua. I love animals. I've always been an animal advocate. I had many pets, wild animals. I was raised with some lions. So I've always been surrounded with animals, actually more than with humans. They are true love. Not that your husband, your boyfriend, or family. It's a different kind of
Yeah.
relationship.
It's an
And I think
unconditional love.
exactly. And I think when I say that, my friends, a lot of my friends and my business partner, Michelle Greif, she's exactly like me. We understand. People who don't have dogs would say, "My God, what is this crazy lady they're talking about?" You know.
Yes.
Uh, but I'm not completely crazy. But yeah, I think that the Blessed Planet was about puppy mills. I don't know if you have puppy mills in Australia.
There's puppy mills, unfortunately, everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
And at the time, I was touring and I represented the Humane Society of the United States for the fight against puppy mills. And from that, I decided to write a book because a friend of mine said, well, Lester is such an amazing dog. He was 1 kilo 3, which means a peanut.
Oh, that's tiny.
Yes. And very, very courageous. He used to attack pit bulls and had no idea of how small he was, you know, completely crazy. So I wrote a book about him. And it's actually a real story because I was traveling from Nice in the south of France to Switzerland, and he was in my handbag. And we're walking to go to the gate. And I was with a friend who's a doctor. And suddenly, this crazy little one sees a huge dog. And what does he decide to do? He decides to jump from my bag and go and attack the dog. Obviously, I'm quite tall. So you imagine he fell on his head.
Oh,
He fell on his head. And I thought he was dead. My doctor friend took him with him in the ladies' room and resuscitated him with breath to breath. It's in the
oh my
book.
goodness.
It's everything is true. And then this friend of mine later on said, Sylvia, you have to write a story about him because this dog is amazing. So I used Lester when I went to LA. I was going to adopt a dog and I went to a shelter. And that's how the story started with Lester. So the message is that we have to respect all living creatures.
Yeah.
And it's very important for children to know that, to respect life, to see also the truth. I tried not to be too harsh in the story because it's for very little children, but just to make them understand how important it is to love
Yeah.
and to be kind.
Yeah. And I think that we as humans have this inbuilt kind of intuitive system where we learn through storytelling. I think it's one
Yeah.
of the most important, endearing, and enduring facets of being a human being. Because if you think about it, as far back as any of us remember from human existence, or not even remember, but like through the history books, people sat around fires and they told stories. Law was passed down in stories, and like the Bible, religious texts are told in stories, and it's really how we learn. And I think one of the most loved things I like to do as a parent is read stories to my children, but I always try and choose books that encourage some sort of lesson, learning, value, moral that
You're right.
comes out of it. Yeah, and I love that. I'm gonna get Lester's my little boy, he's currently 1.
Mhm.
So I'll have to get
Well,
your
it's a
letter.
beautiful images, so you can look
Yes,
at.
I'll have to get it and read that to him. Now, I'm curious as a creative, Sylvia,
Yes.
what sparks your imagination the most, whether it be for your song lyrics? Like, where do you find your inspo?
So I speak different languages.
Yes.
Switzerland, we already have German, French, Italian, and then I speak also English. I try to at least. Spanish, and I'm learning Chinese because I traveled around the world
Mm.
and I like different cultures.
Yeah.
I think we learn a lot from that. And I get my creativity from there. When I write lyrics, I like to write when I travel, when I'm in a
Mm.
plane or in a train, like writing. Maybe because it's a moment of peace
Mm.
where nothing is going to disturb me. My phone's not going to ring. I'm hyperactive, so I'm not going to start doing something else, 10 things at the same time. When I'm sitting in a plane, I can't just get out the door, right?
Yes.
I just have to stay there. And I found that it triggers my creativity to be up there in the sky,
Yes.
30,000 feet high, or in a train. For Ella Green, I wrote mainly in a train.
Mhm.
And creativity for me is my travels, my childhood also, how I grew up for Ella Green. Obviously, there's maybe always something of us when we write a book.
Absolutely.
So yes, that's how I trigger my creativity. And for the music, it's the same thing. Mhm.
Mm. And do you have a creative routine? So when you sit down to write, or are you just able to sit down, open a laptop or a notebook and just write away? Or do you have to have like a specific set of
So
rituals, I suppose?
yeah, so I for Ella Green, I used to wake up at 3 a.m. with
Mhm.
my 3 dogs, with me in the office, a cappuccino, and I would write until about 7 a.m., 8 a.m.
Mhm.
Then I'd stop. I
Yeah,
like writing. I like the morning, early morning. I'm an early riser.
me too.
I think it's the best moment of the day when everything is still still and when the sun is still asleep. I think it's so peaceful.
Mm.
So that's my routine for writing. Then I will write also in the afternoon whenever I feel it. But my routine was really for Ella in the morning. For
Yeah.
singing at night, I like. But then again, if I have to record at 10 a.m., I'll do it. It's not the
Yes.
same. The vibe is not the same.
Yeah.
But I prefer at night. Yes.
Interesting. Now, Lester's Planet is a children's book, ages 3 to about 6 or 7, you said.
Mhm.
But Ella Green is your series, I suppose, that have meaningful themes and are aimed at a young adult.
Young adults, yes.
What made you want to write for a young adult audience after having written for younger children?
I don't know. It just came like that. No, because, okay, to make a résumé in French, to make it short,
Yes.
I went to boarding school at a very young age. I was 6. And I was bullied in boarding school. When you're very young, you're still your mommy's girl.
Mhm.
And it made me become stronger, but I had to fight.
Yes.
So the stories, when I used to go to bed, I used to plunge into my bed and cover myself with a duvet.
Hmm.
You say duvet?
In Australia, they say doona, but I'm from
A
Africa.
duvet.
I do say duvet.
Duvet.
Yeah.
And then I would close my eyes and tell to my bed to bring me to a destination. It could be Middle Ages, it could be the 17th century, it could be underwater, on the moon, wherever my imagination brought it. And that was for me the start with Ella Green. So
Mm.
Ella is a 14-year-old girl. She has a special power. She can understand nature and she has a link to nature
Mm.
and she has a purpose in the story. So obviously Ella is maybe has a little bit of me because I went to a boarding school. All the rest is an invention. Obviously, I don't. Well, I love trees. Sometimes I do try to talk to trees, but it's another story. So the story started like that. And I wanted to convey a message about nature and animals because it's something very close to me. I think we're destroying our world. It's a fact.
Absolutely.
I know that in Australia you've had terrible fires that have
Fires and
destroyed.
floods as a reason. And we just had a cyclone.
So let's see. Then again, I think it's not all of humans' fault because I think there's a cycle. Like you look at the Earth and millions of years ago, glacier ages, and then it went warm, etc. But I think that we are destroying a lot of things, and that a lot of people, sadly, today still don't care.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe if children can realize how important trees are, just talking about trees, we cannot live without trees.
No.
Impossible. How important it is that when you wake up and you open your window, you see a beautiful blue sky, you see the ocean, you hear the birds. We can't live without nature, but nature can live without us.
Yes.
And I think it's very important to convey that message because for humans, sadly, it's my opinion, there's no hope. But kids who are the future can change things.
Yes.
Definitely.
What a powerful message. And I couldn't agree with you more. And it's funny, I love how synchronicities work because I'm from Africa, you're from Switzerland, you grew up with lions. I obviously had lions as a big part of my life.
You're not serious.
Yeah, I went to boarding school at age 6. I was bullied at boarding school. I have a huge imagination. So it's very, very interesting how, things just happen this way. And
sorry, I'm gonna interview you now. You have lions?
I didn't have lions as pets, but they were around a lot. I had a leopard on my farm, so they were free. I had a zebra who came to visit my horses daily. That's the thing. So baby elephants, adorable. Like that was my childhood, very connected to nature. And then you grow up and you see the people around you who maybe haven't had such an upbringing. And they have no disregard or even a thought to nature. But I've noticed in myself, like if I don't go out camping or I don't go out and connect with nature regularly, I get very, very cranky. Like I get very dysregulated.
Same here.
I think it's so important for humans to stay connected to nature and to work in harmony with it.
It is completely a message. Actually, after our podcast, I'm going to take my dog, Lola, and I'm going to go on a walk by the sea.
Oh, amazing. Well, I'm not going to do that because it's 7 o'clock at night. Yes. I'm going to go to bed. But tomorrow I'm going for a walk. Now, I'm interested in, children's book, young adult. I specialize in nonfiction. Okay. But there's always this crossover. I'm wondering how you balance entertainment for a young audience because they're essentially wanting to be entertained. They're not interested in a lecture as such. Yes. How do you balance entertainment with those deeper messages when you're writing for your younger readers?
I just write. I think too much sometimes. And like a zillion thoughts coming in and out. And I'm like, stop. So I think I just write what I feel, what is important. I look at children around and it's just a message that comes. I think it has to be natural. I think if you think too much, then the beauty of the moment and the natural side just fades away. Yeah. And children, you cannot lie to kids. No, they know. They'll like it or won't, They'll see if it's true or if it's made up.
Absolutely. And I think that also crosses over into nonfiction. If you think too much, it's never going to happen. Like it just won't come out and it won't be authentic to you. And that's what people are looking for when they read. Subconsciously, they're looking for that authenticity.
Yes, completely. Absolutely.
Now, let's talk independent filmmaking and disrupting the media, because I know this is something that you like to do.
Really? Why do you say that?
I don't know. Now, as the founder of Medi LLC, and
with my partner, I'm actually I wanted Michelle. Yeah, co-founded with Michelle Gray. She's in the States. We founded Medi LLC, yes, together. Yes.
Amazing. And you've also got the podcast, Stories, Controversy, and Bandaids.
Bandaids, yes. We started that together, yes.
You're clearly passionate about media. You've participated in various media, right? You've got audio with your singing, and you've got your books, so you've got your print, and you've got your podcast. What inspired you to get into, I suppose, independent filmmaking?
Okay, so let's say Michelle is creative and brilliant, and she is the filmmaker, producer. We've known each other for many years. I was signed to her label, Realize Records at the time, and I released a few albums with her. But she always was interested in movies, producing. So we started a project together, a documentary we are working on about, how can I put it? The story of my parents. Actually, the podcast explains what happened. It's a craziness that she found out many years ago, and that brought us to start the podcast documentary, and we hope a feature film, scripted film. Yes, this is in the long run, but for the moment, we're working on the documentary. It's been very emotional.
Yeah.
And she's brilliant. I'm very bad with technology. I have no idea. If I go on Google and I try and find something, forget it. She will find everything, everything. So I'm more the artist. She is the brain. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So we started the documentary, and this is a new project for me, not for her, but it's very interesting also. Yes, the research and the creation of it, and the podcast, as you know, is I love podcasts.
Yes.
It's like for me, when I talk and when I explain the story, I think because of the heaviness of it was like talking, going to a session with a shrink and letting things out. I don't know how it's for you.
2 hours ago, I had a counseling session with my counselor, so I know exactly how that feels. Now, I work specifically with entrepreneurs, and I encourage a very real, raw, and vulnerable type of storytelling that also helps sell their next level offers as an entrepreneur. But I really believe that it's peeling back these layers of the filtered social media or the branded website or whatever it is that really allows humans to connect on that level that is necessary in order to build a relationship and then exchange money or exchange information. It's a relationship building, it's a trust building thing. And I believe the fastest way to do that, I know the fastest way to do that is storytelling. But it can be very, very confronting and heavy, as you have described it, in telling things that you may not have told anybody before or you may not have shared publicly before. And especially people of our age and up, we're told don't air your dirty laundry in public. Don't say those things because people are going to judge you. And it's quite a journey to navigate. What tools are you using in filming this documentary about your parents to help you navigate that heaviness and that vulnerability and that fear, I suppose?
I have struggled lately with so many fears and anxiety. I'm a tough cookie, normally. The journey that I decided to go on, if I come back a few years ago, Michelle came up. I'm adopted, okay? I was adopted at a very young age, 2 days old. And she came to me one day and said to me, Sylvia, wouldn't you be interested in finding out your biological parents? And to be true, my life was perfect. I was lucky. My parents were very rich. They adopted me when I was 2. I had the paradise. I had everything I wanted. And I seriously had no interest at the time to know who they were.
Yeah.
I thought they decided to abandon me for certainly a good reason. They couldn't keep me. I have no grudges. I never felt any discomfort about talking about it. I never felt the need to look for my parents, to know who they were. And so when she asked the question, I said, whatever. I don't really care, but I just let it open. And she came back 3 weeks later and she said, Sylvia, I found something amazing, but not about your biological parents, about your adoptive parents. And I said, what do you mean? This was in just 2013, more or less. And she said, look, you have to send a copy of your passport, notified, to New Brunswick, Canada. There's some files, secret files, that are there, classified. And should I continue? Or do you think I'm crazy?
Sparked my curiosity now. Yes, continue.
So I did that. I went to my notary, classified thing, sent a passport. A few weeks later, came back telegrams about my mother from Lord Beaverbrook, Churchill's right hand. The long story short is that my mother was a spy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is.
So, wow. No. So wait. So at the time, it was her maiden name. We're talking 19. She adopted me. She was older, let's put it that way. When this happened, it was just before the Second World War. She was a very young girl. And when I saw that, my mother was still alive. I said, no way. I'm closing the door. It's not possible. It can't be her. This is not my mother. My mother's a jet setter. She travels around the world. She's beautiful, but she's not a spy. No way.
Yeah.
I closed the door. My mother passed away. And Michelle, always Michelle, came back to me maybe a year later and said, so look, Sylvia, I know you didn't want to know, but we did some more research and we found so much stuff. And do you want to know? So my mother had passed away and I said, I'm curious a little bit. I said, okay, what do you have to tell me? And then the story starts. The
Wow.
craziness of my family, World War II, my father, who was 20 years older than my mother, who adopted. These are my adoptive parents.
Yes.
Cruz, personalities very known. She spied for the Allies, but we first thought she spied for the Nazis, as the story went on. Michelle made some amazing discoveries of who she was, a Matahari. And I must say, I'm so proud of her. Some things I don't understand. The emotional part of it came that I saw this woman and suddenly it's like a mirror that breaks. You see something else behind it that you had no idea of. The woman you knew all your life, my mother, because she's my mother and my everything. And I miss her every day. And I'm doing this documentary for her because I thought she was vain at the time. Teenagers can be a pain in the neck. I saw her at parties, traveling around the world. I said, my God, she was everything but that. What she went through, the struggles, the anxiety, the mental health problems, when she had to spy, when she was locked in places. My father was Jewish. He came as a refugee to Switzerland. So I started that journey very excited about what we were finding out because it's like a rat hole. There's always something coming out. Classified documents are being declassified. We found crazy things about coup in South America in the late 50s where my father took part. And this was my family. So it started bringing anxiety in my life. But who am I? Who am I? And so we started filming the documentary in New York because for me, the story starts there. Although she comes from Soleure, which is a small, tiny little village in Switzerland at the time, 3,000 people living there. We're talking 1935. My mother left that village on her own, age 17, 18, to travel to America on her own. And during the whole Second War, she was traveling to all these countries in military planes, from England to Spain to France, back to America. And we're talking times where traveling was not like today.
Yeah.
A young girl in 1935, 1936, age 17, doesn't travel on her own to America, where she's never been. So we found out the reason why she did that and by who she was sent. And so I also, in my podcast, in Stories, Controversy, and Bandaids, I really wanted to talk about mental health because I think it's a huge issue.
Yes.
Because I never had any fears. I never was afraid. I never thought sometimes in the morning, here, my fears are there and I work. I said, oh, how am I gonna go through the day? And I've had that. So it did bring these fears because I'm discovering my mother that I didn't know. I didn't know my real parents, I mean, my biologic parents. And now I realize that this woman, I knew nothing of her. Why did she never talk about it? Why did she never tell me anything? Why didn't she leave a secret book somewhere in a safe in Switzerland for me to understand? But she left letters. I found letters, hundreds of lovers she had.
Wow.
Generals, American generals, a very famous German general and lieutenant that was against Hitler. I mean, the story goes on. It's in the podcast, and we're doing a documentary on that now. But I also really want to talk about mental health, and that's what I do in the podcast. Yeah.
Amazing, special woman. And this is something that I don't think I've actually spoken about publicly before, but I'm going to now, is that owning a publishing company, one of the things that I want to implement is a not-for-profit sector where my writers and I go into old age homes or spend time with people who are
That's so important. That's so important.
And I want to, and to tell their stories and for us to publish books as a legacy piece for their families with their photos, with their stories, so that their children and then their children's children's children can learn about the amazing people that are part of their generational line, but also learn about themselves through their ancestors, because you would have traits that you picked up from your mother. And even though she's not your biological mother, you still would have picked up traits from her and ways that you think or that you do things. And then you can go, oh, I understand now that that comes from mum or that comes from gran.
You know what? I think, how do you say that? Mimetism. Even if it's not your biological mother. Well, she is. She got me, I was 2 days old. And she's my mother. But she was petite. She had brown hair. I'm blonde, I'm tall. But there's a sort of a mimetism where she started acting like she dyed her hair blonde. And I realize now I do things that she used to do, you know? And it's very interesting. And yeah, it's this amazing woman. I just regret she never talked to me. But we interviewed some CIA agents and people in the business, and they told me they can never say anything. Certainly not to your family, to the close ones. Never, ever, you know?
Yeah.
So I understand, but as we discover things about her, I said, no, this is not possible. Cannot be my mother. When I read the love letters, and she had a few of them.
Good for her.
Exactly, good for her. But I'm her daughter, and I'm like, Mama. I call her Marichka. Marichka, really?
I don't need to know these things, Mom.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Oh, too funny.
Yeah, so.
Now, Sylvia, what's one story that you haven't told yet, but feel like you need to in the future?
Oh my God. I can't tell you.
Oh, you can't tell. It's classified.
It isn't that. Yes, I will. I mean, yesterday I had a chat with Michelle and my private life and a few things that led to a lot of things. She said, Sylvia, we're going to have to make a movie. I said, okay, let's see. Yeah.
That's exciting. Very nice. So, not including the documentary.
Yes.
If your life was turned into a film tomorrow, a movie tomorrow, what would the title be?
Well, first of all, the documentary and the movie, when we started, I didn't want to be seen at all. It's not an ego trip.
Mm-hmm.
It is really to discover who she was.
Yeah.
I've been told by many people that I had to appear, but I will always appear from the back or my image blurred because I don't want it to be about me.
Yep.
Although people say, well, it is somewhere about me. And a very good friend of mine, who's a journalist in Paris, Alain Amar, that we interviewed during the documentary, said, you know, you are a heiress because you are the one who will decide if this story will come out or not. And they left you that choice.
Yeah.
And it took me a year to decide actually if I would wanted to do that. But when I found the letters, I thought, if my mother was a spy, which say agent de liaison, she was, why did she leave these letters there? If not for me to find them. And if she wanted me to find these letters, maybe she wanted me to tell her story. So that's why I did it.
Yeah.
And it's not, Michelle will say, Sylvia, stop it. It's not about me. Obviously, I'm in it because I'm the one telling the story. And I am doing the narrative of the whole thing. But it's really about strong women and how in the midst of World War II. But I think there's a correlation with fears, anxiety then, there was a war, and today, in this crazy world where we live, I have so many friends who suffer from anxiety, who have depression. And I think there's a link 70 years later with that. So that's why I also want to release that. I'm not a doctor in no means, but I think that when you live things, when you feel fear, when you feel anxiety, when you feel some days you can't, it's just impossible. I can't, I'd never work. You have these negative thoughts coming in your head. And we have about 80,000 thoughts a day in our heads, the same as the day before, that come and come. And so I think it's very important to talk about it because then maybe people can relate in a certain way, that there's always a way, that you have to believe. And being strong is sometimes very hard when you have the impression that the sky is falling on you, money-wise, in your love life, with your health, or whatever else. And it's very important to come back to message. This obviously is for adults more, because I hope that children today don't suffer depression, although a lot of young adults have issues. They don't know where they go. They don't see a future because everything is so mad. And yes, so we come back to messaging. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, before we wrap up, what's one controversial opinion that you have about storytelling or the creative industry as a whole?
Well, today you have AI. Okay. As an artist, I try to have an open mind. So I think that AI is good, for instance, to research books on Google itself. We are utilizing AI, and it's actually quite amazing on old pictures. So there's a picture of my mother in the 50s or in the 40s, and she's moving like in a video.
Wow.
And that is great. That side of AI is great. But also, naturally, the negative side as a singer, as an artist. I heard lately my producer, because I was thinking of recording an EP, and he sent me a song, and I loved the song. I said, wow. And then he says, do you know who the singer is? I said, no, AI, completely, completely.
Really?
Everything.
Wow.
And I had no idea. The feeling was there, the music was great. And I'm thinking, that's scary.
That is scary.
I didn't use AI for my books at all. I think it's interesting for research. If you need, research. But there are boundaries.
Yeah.
But as humans, are we capable to keep these boundaries? What's your opinion on that?
Oh, geez. Like, as a writer myself, I use AI a lot. Okay. I don't use it to write because I believe that you need to be an expert in your area first. I know that you need to have an emotion first and you need to have a human approach first, because if you just plug anything into AI, it can spit you out anything. But does it sound like you? Is it authentic to you? Is it actually what you know and feel to be true? If those things are not there, then it's really just a tool to overcome writer's block or for inspiration or for
Have you had writer's block?
I get writer's block all the time.
Oh, then I'm not the only one.
You are definitely not the only one. And this is something I work with my authors on all the time. I am the type of writer that sometimes I won't write anything for 2-3 weeks. And then all of a sudden I can spit an entire book out in 3 days. But I cannot do it until I'm in that creative flow, in that creative space where it's ready to come through me. But I also use AI for things like planning my vegetable patches. You know, I go, these are the seeds that I have. What can I plant together? So I think that as humans, we have the potential to work in coordination with AI. But you're right, it's boundaries. We cannot just lose and hand our power over, if you like.
You know, we will lose it. Yeah, but you know, we will lose those boundaries.
That's right.
There is, for me, no question. It's just a question of time.
Yeah. Yep. And it's a journey that will play out and we will see what happens. But do I think it's a bad thing? Not necessarily. I think that we need to make the right choices.
Exactly.
And that's just with everything in life. You need to make the right choices and you need to keep making the right choices.
Exactly.
That's simple.
It is.
With that very intense question, I'm going to bring this to a close so that people can ponder on that little AI thing, which is very, very popular at the time of recording. But Sylvia, as we've discussed, I own a publishing company. You are an author and a creative. The listeners and the viewers of this podcast want to know what book has impacted you either personally or professionally. Give us the book drop.
I have two.
I love it. Share.
Okay. So one is called, from Gregory David Robertson, called Shantaram.
Shantaram. Okay.
Yes. The other one is from a French author. Her name is Maude Ankaoua, and it's called Kilomètre Zéro. Actually, I can show. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, you've got it there with you. Amazing. Is that Kilimanjaro?
This is Annapurna.
Ah.
And I went there. Actually, I climbed the Annapurna.
Amazing.
And the second, I have it here.
Oh, Shantaram. And why these two books?
He comes from Australia, Gregory David Roberts. Oh, you have to read the book.
Oh, I have to read the book.
This is a very, look, I have no patience, okay? I have no patience. I am hyperactive. I start a book, I start meditation, and then I get up and I have thoughts, right?
And I have thoughts.
And I'm like, oh my God. I'm actually going to do Joe Dispenza. Have you heard of him?
Everyone, yes, Joe Dispenza.
So I'm going to Cancun normally in June.
Amazing.
For a retreat, yeah. This book is the first book that I read twice. I was able to finish it and read it again. Yeah.
So it must be good.
It is very good. It's a true story.
Okay.
And I can only recommend it. And Maude Ankaoua, Kilomètre Zéro, is very spiritual. It's a journey of research of oneself. It happens in Nepal. I went to Nepal. I was on the Annapurna.
Gorgeous.
And it's a friend of mine who recommended to read the book. It's very nice. It's a story of this woman who goes there for certain reasons. And I don't know if you can get it in English. I don't know. Okay. I guess it's been maybe translated to English. But these are two of there are many books. Charles Dickens. I mean, I can go in.
Yes.
All the things.
Classics.
Edgar Allan Poe, Jules Verne, my favorite. Jules Verne.
You and I would get along fabulously. I'm a classics girl. I love my classics.
I know.
Not many people do these days, so that's lovely to hear. Sylvia.
Yeah, I love that. All these classics, Tolkien also. We could go on and on.
Yeah, absolutely. Sylvia, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us and your story and your vulnerability on the podcast today. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank you. And can I just give the name of our podcast? Would you mind that I give that again, just if people are interested? So
Absolutely.
it's Stories, Controversy, and Bandaids. And it can be found on all major platforms, Spotify, Red Circle, etc.
Beautiful. Go and check out Sylvia. I'll be sure to put out some links in the show notes for this episode. Thank you so much, Sylvia.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Tarryn Reeve Show. If today's episode lit a fire in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a story that could transform your business. If you're ready to write the book that positions you as the go-to authority in your industry, visit automaticauthority.com to find out how we can help you make it happen. Until next time, keep owning your story, leading with impact, and building a legacy.